Good morning, and welcome to your morning cereal. Okay, good morning, and welcome to Tuesday. Well, today is a day that is so emotionally layered that it needs its own therapist. Let me explain. First, and I am not making light of this at all, it's Childhood Depression Awareness Day, which is a serious and very important issue to call attention to, right? Positive mental health is essential to a child's healthy development. But ironically, this is paired with International No Diet Day. So let's be on the lookout for those of us eating our emotions, right? So eating cake and cookies and snacking on all those yummy and unhealthy foods that all of our pantries are just stuffed with. Well, lastly, let's not forget it's also National Nurses Day and National Teachers Day, meaning today we honor the real superheroes who probably need a nap, they need a raise, and maybe some cake or donuts too. So hug a teacher, high five a nurse, and for today only, it's okay to skip the salad. Well, today's quote comes from an actor who never skips his favorite Caesar salad. It's George Clooney, whose quote points out that we can learn significantly more from mistakes and setbacks than from achievements. George Clooney said, quote, "Failures are infinitely more instructive than successes," end quote. Thanks for that sage advice, George. Well, today's news, facts, and birthdays are for May 6th. We're going to start back in 1937 when the Hindenburg, you guys know this one, the Zeppelin, it was filled with hydrogen. Well, this is the day it went up in flames. We've all seen that video footage showing this colossal fireball engulfing the German airship during a landing. They were trying to land in Lakehurst, New Jersey. Next, we're going to skip up to 1954, and that's when Roger Bannister, not a household name, but he was the first person to run a mile in under 4 minutes. Now, he ran the just over 1,600 meters in just under 4 minutes at 3 hours, 59.4 seconds. Now, in case you're wondering, the current world record for the mile sits at 3 minutes, 43.1 seconds, and that was set in 1999. And for the women, the world record was set just 2 years ago in 2023, and that was at 4 minutes and 7 seconds. Then we're going to skip all the way up to 1994, and that's when the channel, the tunnel that links the United Kingdom with France, well, it opened on this date. 3 years later, I actually rode on that. Pretty cool. And then finally in 2004, on this date, now I know my wife will shed a tear on this one, she knows the date well, because the final episodes of Friends, it aired on this date in 2004, 21 years ago. Now, everybody knows this was an immensely popular sitcom, which we're all familiar with Rachel, Monica, Phoebe, Joey Chandler, and Ross. And the show had been on the air for 10 years, started in 1994. Well, the final episode, which was entitled The Last One, it was watched by 52.5 million viewers, which I'm told is just a few more than this morning's audience watching Morning Cereal. Well, happy birthday if today is your birthday. You share a birthday with former Prime Minister Tony Blair, he's 72 today, and actor George Clooney, he's 64 today. Well, the number one song on this date back in 1997 was I Just Died in Your Arms by Cutting Crew. The song I Just Died in Your Arms is one of the most iconic power ballads of the 1980s. Now, the song's writer said that the title phrase came to him after an intimate moment with his girlfriend. Well, I just remember listening to it over and over again in my friend's basement, daring each other to dial our crush's phone numbers. Well, we were just hoping their mom or dad didn't pick up at that point in time. This nostalgic song was the band's debut single, and it rocketed them to international fame almost overnight. Its dramatic string stabs and synth-heavy production and its soaring vocals, it captured the mood of the era, and it made the song a staple of 80s radio and on MTV. Well, our book review is lacking the synthesizer, but it definitely captures the mood. That's because we're reading through Stephen R. Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And we just finished up part 1, Paradigms and Principles, in which Covey was talking about how each of us have these innate core characteristics that we can tap into, that when we combine them with our own individual experiences, they can help us navigate how we see and behave in this world. Those are our paradigms. And secondly, Covey discussed how important habits are in our lives. They help us grow and mature from dependence to independence to interdependence. But we must be careful to maintain balance in life, not always focusing on the results, but also focusing on the assets or the ways in which we reach those results. So today we are starting part 2, which is entitled Private Victory. And we jump headfirst into our first habit, with Covey's first habit being be proactive. Chapter 1 in part 2 is entitled Principles of Personal Vision, and the quote for this chapter is from a favorite of self-improvement authors, who often call on Henry Thoreau for his wisdom. Now, Thoreau said, quote, "I know of no more encouraging fact than the unquestionable ability of man to elevate his life by conscious endeavor," end quote. Now, Covey begins this chapter by asking the reader, and I'll ask it of you, if you can see yourself wherever you are, in the car, in your office, can you picture yourself as though you were watching yourself from across the room, right? This is an out-of-body experience type thing. Can you identify what kind of mood you are in right now? How are you feeling? Can you tell what your present mental state is? Are you tired? Are you quick and alert? Or are you wondering about what the point of this mental exercise is? Well, I'll tell you. Covey is making the point that we are self-aware beings. In fact, we are the only ones on this planet that are self-aware and, quote, have the ability to think about our very thought process, end quote. This is what separates us from the animals. This is what allows us to, quote, make significant advances from generation to generation, to learn from others' experiences as well as our own. This is also why we can make and break our habits, end quote. Covey is asking us to be self-aware. Know that, quote, we are not our feelings. We are not our moods. We are not even our thoughts, end quote. It's our gift as humans that we are even aware of these things. And in this book, Covey wants us to be aware of ourselves because, quote, until we take how we see ourselves and how we see others into account, we will be unable to understand how others see and feel about themselves and their world, end quote. So, Covey is asking us to be self-aware and to be open as we move into our first subchapter, which is called the social mirror. And Covey begins this subchapter saying, quote, the only vision we have of ourselves comes from the social mirror, from the current social paradigm, and from the opinions, the perceptions, and paradigms of the people around us, end quote. And many times, these opinions from others are not reality-based, but they form a foundation of how we see ourselves. Have you ever heard someone saying something like this? Or maybe you've said things like this as well, right? Here they are. You're never on time. Why can't you ever keep things clean? You must be athletic. You eat like a horse. And I can't believe you won. Or maybe I can't believe you won. Put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable there, potentially. But Covey says sayings and visions like these are, quote, disjointed and out of proportion, end quote. You know what, that's going to be a good stopping point for today, and we'll finish up this first subchapter and move into the subsequent ones tomorrow as we start to learn about Covey's first habit, which is be proactive. Hey, thanks for joining us today. Let's all be proactive and plan on coming back here again this time tomorrow. And don't forget, have a fantastic day. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Morning Serial podcast on the One Life Live It channel. You can find more episodes and videos by visiting our YouTube channel and the website at Sean Inglis and at SeanInglis.com, where you can also follow our other podcasts, the Mr. and Mrs. Inglis podcast and the Life Happens podcast. In these other podcasts, we'll dive deeper into everyday issues, self-improvement and well-being, business and finance, and we welcome special guests too. So join us. It'll be a good time, I promise. Thanks again for listening. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you tomorrow.